You guys are probably wondering, Delix, how many times are you going to keep making Pain videos, Pain content, and honestly, forever? Welcome back, guys. I'm Delix, and we're going to be talking about is Pain the biggest hypocrite in Naruto. And honestly, that title has been with this character since the very beginning. So, in order to erase all hatred, you have to continue the hatred a little longer to start his new world, Pain's new world vision, right? So, the best example is the beginning of Pain's journey. He had to kill all of Hanzo's legacy. His family, his grandparents, he killed their infants, which I would have loved to see a mini arc of the extension of the creation of the new Hidden Rain. We got a little bit of a flashback story of the Pain's killing Hanzo, but that's not the same thing. I wanted to see an actual extension of Pain recreating the Hidden Rain in his image after erasing Hanzo, and the games don't count, by the way. But anyways, Pain continued the cycle of hatred because Hanzo's the one that created the hatred within him. And Pain took that hatred that Hanzo created in him and reversed it back to Hanzo and took his anger and hatred out on him. So, in order to create this new world, Pain had to spread his hatred a little bit longer and take it out on everyone and killed off all Hanzo's legacy because Hanzo started the violence. He did what he did. And in order to erase that version of violence, Pain had to continue his on top of Hanzo's legacy and erased everything and then start his new vision of how he wanted the world to be. And going to the Hidden Leaf and destroying everything and everyone that people loved, destroying buildings and people dying in those buildings. You would think Pain would learn, but no. In order to create this new world, he has to continue the cycle a little bit longer. In order to erase all hatred and create a new world, you have to continue the same cycle a little longer to the point where you can feel like, okay, now we're heading somewhere. But you're only heading somewhere because you had to extend it until you got to that point where you feel like, okay, we got what we wanted. Now we can start the new world order, right? So here's the problem with Pain's characters that people have is that why would you continue the cycle if you already pledged you were going to end it? Why continue it if you were going to start the new era by erasing all violence, by starting with no violence, right? But that's the thing. You can't create something without sacrificing anything. There's nothing without costs to certain situations, and Pain knew if he wanted to end all hatred throughout everywhere, well, he has to keep continuing it. It's like the same thing what happened with Attack on Titan. Eren created Gabby's hatred because Eren recreated the same cycle what he went through, right? So Gabby, I believe her name was the hated character no one liked. She was basically Eren 2.0. And you saw that cycle recreate. And I've seen people say that the cycle of hatred makes no sense and it always ends bad. And yeah, you're probably right, but whoever does it better than the other creator, give them credit if you see it. But the point is that in order to erase something, you have to sometimes continue the same problem in order to erase everything of that same problem. So anytime Pain would talk, right, you as a viewer, you disagree with him, but you understand him. And sometimes you can't disagree with him because he's speaking facts, but at the same time, he's coming off as a very hypocritical person because I think Pain really knew that his world of peace probably was not going to be perfect, but like he told Naruto, there was no other way for true peace to happen unless I do this cycle. And that's when he gave Naruto the opportunity. He's like, okay, you think my version is wrong, so tell me, what is your answer? Naruto doesn't say anything because he knows he doesn't have anything to say. Pain lived long enough to actually have a voice. He gave Naruto that chance. He's like, okay, you disagree with me, man, but what's on your mind? How do you end this cycle of hatred? Let me know. Nothing. And that's when I realized, you know what? Pain's probably, in his heart, Nagato probably thought, yeah, my plan may not be perfect, but if no one else can't find an answer, if the main fucking character can't find an answer for me, then it's ending all wars together while continuing the cycle, or do nothing at all. Because a plan like Pain, of course, there was going to be more dead bodies happening because you cannot execute a plan by controlling all the wars and handing the tail beasts as profit to other countries and nations and profiting off of them in order to extend the hatred of wars to make sure if all wars are forming, people eventually will believe, okay, we don't want this anymore. But that was the point of Pain. He wanted the whole world to know the same pain that he went through by creating more wars on top of other wars to the point where either everyone kills each other or they realize, okay, we don't want this anymore. But here's the thing. The problem with Pain's character as a viewer, everyone has different opinions. Everyone's opinions are never going to match up. Sometimes even talking about Pain's character, I confuse myself because there's so much depth in his character. It's really sad that he's not a popular character. He's not. Pain lost to Sakura and Tenten of the popularity poll for the manga series that Minato won. I know Sakura fans try to get her to #1, but the fact that Tenten was even remembered to be as a meme to be on top instead of Pain, that says something. Pain is just not a popular character. But whenever people talk about him, it starts conflict within the community. It starts wars because people bring real life wars into Pain's fictional wars. And that cycle continues. And you're really trying to figure out who's the biggest hypocrite, right? Who's right, who's wrong kind of situation. Pain is a hypocrite because he's still continuing the cycle. But he has to bear that burden in order to erase all hatred. If I have to extend the hatred a little longer to end it all, well, yeah, he's going to basically recreate violence in order to end all violence. And you have every right to call him out as a viewer. At the same time, you can understand him. And there are times where you're like, shit, Pain's right. And you have nothing to argue with because you know from an honest perspective, he's actually talking about some real shit. So honestly, Pain is the biggest hypocrite in Naruto. At the same time, it's what's part of his character. We know what he's doing is continuing the same problem from his childhood. But there's really no other way to do it besides forcing it. And he asked Tsunade respectfully, give us Naruto Uzumaki, where's he at? He asked multiple times. He obviously did it after destroying the village. But the point is, if he had Naruto, you could say he could politely leave, or he would take Naruto and still blow up the Hidden Leaf Village. But at the same time, it doesn't matter if those were the two options you were thinking. Pain was going to blow it up regardless, because it was basically revenge, because the Hidden Leaf Village is responsible for creating the war in the Hidden Ring, even though Nagata never told us the exact reason why. We just know that they were responsible. So even if Pain left peacefully with Naruto, he was going to give the Hidden Leaf Village something for the money, for the history and damage that they caused. I'm just saying. So in your personal opinion, is Pain the biggest hypocrite, or do you at least understand him, or do you just not like his character? A lot of people favor around Itachi and Obito simply because I think they are more realistic to bond with to an extent of the idea of protecting someone and losing someone you love, while Pain is about politics, war, hatred. A lot of 13 to 14, 15-year-olds, which is Naruto is age demographic to that age, a lot of people can't relate to Pain until you get older and older. And I'm not saying that you need to be popular to be good. I think the reason why Pain is never a popular character because he's so realistic, and a lot of people don't follow politics, and a lot of people don't care about fixing the world. Pain is a character for people who want the idea image of what we would do if we had power, if we could change. And there's a lot less of that and more people having a brother and protecting that brother, or loving someone and losing someone you love. That's more realistic to connect with, honestly. But to someone like Pain, it's really fucking complex. That's just the truth. And there's a lot of people who are not that young who can relate to Pain. That's just my personal opinion. So tell me, is he a hypocrite or not? Let me know. I'm Delix, subscribe if you want, and stay weird. Bye.